Darn it, there's glare.
I was there when it...
Oh, really? See. Now, was that a front wheel? Was that a front wheel drive car?
Relax.
Cord, that was the front wheel.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Only when you have a cell phone. I don't even bring mine. But I have. Yeah, I am on duty.
Yes,
Someone might be.
yes. Always, forever, for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Sedro-Woolley City Council Meeting. Please rise for our flag salute.
Oh, yeah.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I won't have to say that anymore.
My friend from California, that's a just hate people with all the pauses.
Okay, we have
You
a
have to tell them.
consent calendar in front of you. The council knows the drill. If there's something on there we'd like to discuss further, let me know. We'll pull it. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar A through H.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar A through H.
Second.
Okay. Got a motion by Councilmember Galbraith and a second by Councilmember Kinzer to approve the consent calendar A through H. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Okay, now we are at public comment time. This is something that you can speak about that we don't have an agenda, so you can just come on up and speak. Let's say your name and address for the record. Nope. Okay, we'll close the public comment. And there's nothing there. We'll start with committee reports. We'll start with John. Go. Well, what are we going to do?
So last night the Planning Commission heard a presentation from Mal Foster and Alongi, the consultant working on the Northern State campus revitalization project. There was many representatives of the various parties there, and unfortunately there was only one member of the public there. It was a good presentation. The Planning Commission is going to continue to be briefed either monthly or every couple of months by Mal Foster, or at least by staff, to let the Planning Commission know what's going on with that project. I believe the City Council's been updated recently. If not, I'd be happy to take any questions. I don't want to go over the whole where we're at right now unless there's a request to do so.
Any questions?
Any questions about what's going on with the Northern State? All right, the annexation's moving along, so great.
I got one item. It's the sign permit fees that we talked about. Can you explain to the council how we might be able to lower those fees?
Yeah, right now, the sign permit fees for all commercial signs are $125 for any basic sign that might be like a sign insert in an existing cabinet. You know what I mean? Like, it's got a cabinet and it's just got a Lexan sheet that comes out and puts back in. That's $125. $125 for any signs that are put on a facade. So those are fairly simple also. And then it's $250 for a sign that would be like a monument sign, something that would be freestanding structure and be subject to some sort of wind loading. And then any tall pole sign, like a gas station sign that's under severe load from wind, would have to be engineered, and those fees are $350 for that. So there's been some discussion started by the mayor about lowering the fees for some of the easier signs, and staff doesn't have any problem with that whatsoever. And sometimes it does seem like they feel bad charging people for $125 for a sign when they just need to replace a plastic insert. in an existing cabinet, for example.
The Hotty Toddy right now.
The Hotty Toddy has a facade
All she
sign.
did was take a board off and put another board up, and $125.
Put it back on. So $125. Yeah, I understand. That seems pretty steep. So now the permits themselves are necessary because we have a minor little design review left over so we don't end up with some really awful signs. But more importantly, what we like to review is structural stability to make sure that if somebody's putting a sign up that they have an idea of how they're going to affix it to the wall. You know, some people say they're going to use some, like half-inch long screws and screwed into sheet metal, and you've got a 100-pound sign. That's not going to work. It's just going to pull right out and kill somebody. So we do have some structural review involved in all of our sign permit applications. So that's one aspect of the fee structure. We'd like to leave some administrative and review fees in it. However, certainly would recommend that as far as the simple replacement of signs in existing cabinets and facade signs, that we revisit the fee structure for something like that. What I might recommend right now, we've got part of that fee is $25 for design reviews. That covers the administrative cost, and it would not be wouldn't be too much more to do $25 just for a simple sign. So it's straight $25 or $50, depending on what the council recommends, for replacing a slide-in sign in an existing cabinet or a facade sign. I do recommend for the signs that are monument signs that are put in the ground and are subject to significant wind loading, and signs that are big, tall signs. Those retained their existing fees, which would be, like I said, $350, I believe, for the big ones, and $250 for the monument type. But as far as facade signs and simple signs, I think $50 would be, $25 for design review, and then $25 for the administrative actual permit fee cost would seem reasonable, unless welcome to take other pricing options from the council.
I think that's better than $125.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is there a difference between a regular printed sign and a neon sign as far as pricing, or is it the same? Depending on just the size and the weight and things like that, or does it matter?
Well, that touches on a bit of I think why it was probably the fees the way it was, because yes, if somebody puts in a big old neon sign that is facade mounted, that indeed would just be, it would be treated the same as a little simple insert. Not really. Those signs really aren't any more different than this, and we're charging $125. They're that easy to put in. So these fees have been like this for some time, so I can't exactly speak to why they are as expensive as they are for those easy ones. Perhaps because there is significant structural review for a big heavy neon sign or lit sign that's going to be mounted on a facade. But what is the review difference? We have to look at it a lot closer to make sure that if something big and heavy and electronic is going to be truly affixed to the front of a building versus, the new grinder, which is the old Hotty Toddy.
Well, you still have to get with L&I if you're putting up neon or any kind of electrical commercial.
In theory, correct. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do anything. I've never could do anything on my own commercial buildings. I always had to hire now on houses I can. But,
and they're just reviewing for the electrical, though.
Yeah, right.
They'll just make sure that the wires are connected
I don't know
properly.
what they charge you for
They don't
that.
look at the structural. Now, nowadays, when you have like Sign Mart or Skagit Sign, they all have a standard for how they screw things to the wall, and they include it with the plans most of the time. Sometimes we have to remind them to submit, plans on how they're going to do it. And so that goes pretty easily when somebody pays to put a sign in. When people start doing it handmade, that's where we have to look a lot closer, because that's where they just want to put a sign up. They're not thinking about how it's going to happen until they get up on a cherry picker and they're like, "Honey, can you run down to Home Depot and get me some screws?" So we wanted to give people a heads up. That's the idea, that they want to be thinking about those signs before they go and try to put them up. But certainly.
So what do we have to do to drop it from 125 to 50?
The fees are in the adopted fee schedule, which the City Council recently adopted. We did some revisions probably about 9 months to a year ago. And so it would be simply bringing it to the council for them to review. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, can't John just submit his recommendations for us to look at and vote on? I mean, it should be that simple, I think.
Yeah, it includes all of the fees, including Mark's engineering fees and the building department fees, so the planning fees. It includes the whole breadth of the building, planning, and engineering department fee structure. So if we're just doing the signs, it would just be changes to that one section and really just one line on the entire.
Make it simple.
I like it.
I can bring that to the council for a first read or second read, whatever instruction you give on that.
Do a first reading, and then we can vote on it.
First and second read. Gotcha. No problem.
All right. Thanks. Mark?
Not too much new tonight. I just wanted to let you know that Jana scheduled a meeting with the various utilities and agencies related to northern states. We had that earlier this week, and that was well attended. And I wanted to bring to your attention, at the federal level, Congress is debating the transportation program right now. There is an opportunity for congressional earmarks. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's something that's a reality. There are going to be some off-site road improvements required, I am certain, with the Northern States project, which I don't know how we're going to fund. We're getting positioned to do a functional classification request for Fruitdale, for the parts of it that are local access now, which is basically from McGargle to SR9. So I wanted to get your feeling about if there is an opportunity to contact the congressional delegation and request an earmark for some funds for the Fruitdale Road improvements, or whatever access road we're going to put into that site. Would council be amenable to that? I don't know what the timing is going to be like, whether we'll have another opportunity to bring that to you before the next time you meet. So what do you think about that? Would you be amenable to submitting such a request? I'm looking at probably $2.5 to $3.5 million, because there's almost 8,000 feet of road involved on that, on Fruitdale itself, between the county and the city. So, that sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I just wanted to let you know the Bingham Park fence project has been bid and awarded, and the contract's approved. And the contractor will probably be starting on that the next week or two. Shouldn't take more than a week to finish it, and then we'll have that area enclosed. We are putting a swing gate on the one opening we have that's over by the old church, so that it'll be closed all the time, but yet can be pushed open fairly easily. So, Jameson project design's going well. Met with the Hamilton folks today, and I'll have a right-of-way plan to them probably by the middle of next week, and we'll start negotiating on the donation. So that's it for us.
Good. Patsy?
The local performance center of the state auditor's office is doing a study on how the Affordable Health Care Act has changed local government's budgets, staffing, and those sorts of things. And we were chosen to be one of the small cities as part of the case study. So the representative from the center came and just interviewed me and asked for all sorts of data and statistics and things. And we should be able to get the results next month after they present them at the Labor Relations Conference. But we it was kind of fun to hear what other cities are doing and how we fit in with what other small cities were doing. Several of the cities that are in the case studies have self-insurance, and so that's much different than us, where we have AWC to do most of that kind of work for us. So if we're supposed to get a copy of the report, so I'll pass it on if we do.
Rick?
No, sir. Well, Woodfest, I wasn't there, but I've heard it was reasonable attendance for their new location. Maybe Keith was there.
Pretty good, yeah.
Knows more about it. But Paula was happy with the turnout and the involvement and the stuff. So.
Hugh?
For our audience to know, today there was a State Patrol weight guy. He pinched a guy for being overweight as I was going on my run down. And as I was coming back, he had another guy pulled over, and two big semis. And of course, Tony can speak to this as well as I can. They love to use their Jake brakes, and we're trying to... So I decided that I'd go talk to him. And I asked him about why are you here? I mean, why are you here? Has somebody complained to you about? And he said he's been getting complaints about them coming through.
This is like 9, coming down 9?
Yeah, coming down 9.
We've been complaining for years. We can't finally get
And my fear, I wanted to bring this up. I was talking to Dean Miller, and he's real fearful about some of these big rigs are so overloaded that when they come down, we have a school bus stop right at Lucas, right at the bottom of 9, and he feels that that's an accident waiting to happen because those semis can't control how fast they stop. And he's coming from a 30-year, as you guys know, he was on council, but he was 30-year Skagit County Sheriff. And I was just bringing that up. So I think it's something we should look at and maybe talk to the school. Possibly that'd be easy to move a bus stop.
Well, that reminds me. I asked Aaron, and I think Aaron talked to you about getting those little rumble strips that are like in Clear Lake on Highway 9. It says 25 miles an hour and goes do-do-do-do-do, you know. And I was wondering if we can get those on that hill at the 35-mile-an-hour posts.
That would be nice.
DNR, some of that.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
Road comes in or
It's just a state highway, though.
well, no, they have it on 9 in Clear Lake. It's a state highway.
Yeah, they do put them on highways.
Yeah, right there north of Francis.
Did you come
Yeah.
over that
There's
hill
two of
and
them,
then...
right where it says slow down to 25 and one at 25.
Right there. And,
That's where the Jake Briggs going.
just north
Well,
of
having a
Francis.
bike path there, when we do that project, would that help at all with the trucks? I mean, we're supposed to be extending that, right?
The only way you're going to enforce, in my opinion, the only way you're going to enforce those trucks slowing down is we have to start
That's when they put the...
finding them if they...
No, they're the remind people.
Because they all have CVs and they're talking to each other. If you find a few, they're going to think twice about being overloaded.
Yeah.
Well, DOT has, they had funding for putting in a weigh-in-motion station up there. I'll check on the status of that. You know, it's come and gone a couple of times. They've gotten real hot on it. They had it located up near the top of the hill up there. In fact, it was close to the school, a little farther out. But it seems to have died the death again this biennium, so I'll find out on that.
And the number of semis now, Mark, I mean, it's increased 10 times.
Yeah.
Really? In fact, I've got
They're all Canadian.
They're almost, yes, most of the licenses are Canadian. And the two that he stopped, Canadian
counts
too.
from there, so I'll look at that. Yeah.
You want to recognize Tony?
That's all. That's all I have.
Okay, Tony?
Don't we have as I remember when it was on council, didn't we pass an ordinance in regard to Jake?
There's a sign out there.
It's signed against them up there.
Signs up, but we have a
You have to have somebody do
fine in
it.
the whole business, which doesn't seem to be enforced very much.
No.
But some of those guys.
Well, you were saying they might have got him today, or?
Well, they got him for overload. It was a weight guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we get complaints from people who live over there hearing it.
Yep.
But I forget,
They're loud.
we had a fee on the fine, you know, enough to be to nail a couple of those Canadian guys. The word is get out.
Any more?
That's all.
Keith?
Yeah, we've had an increase in car prowls over where in my ward, so be aware, lock your doors. Most of it has been unlocked doors. I've heard of 3 or 4 now in the last week, and I don't know, Cheryl was one.
Crime wave.
Oh, no.
Your new neighborhood.
It was my welcome.
Well, it happens every year when the weather gets nice.
In fact, our caretaker, Phil, over at Bingham Park's truck was stolen 2 nights ago.
Are you kidding?
In the middle of the day. Middle of the day.
Oh, no.
It was actually not working very well. He was waiting for the mechanic to come and work on it, and he had the key under one of the tires. They hot-wired it and drove off and left the key there on the parking lot.
Wow.
It was an old beater pickup truck.
Go figure. Brenda?
Kidding.
Nothing today.
Jermaine?
Well, when I mentioned the documentary last week, I didn't realize it was on the same night as a council meeting, so I couldn't go. So hopefully that's where everybody is, seeing the Skagit domestic violence documentary. But I was going to ask, actually I was going to ask Aaron, but Mark, maybe you know, about the FEMA. There's a FEMA training that I guess some city councils are doing. And I don't know if you've heard anything about that, but I was wondering if there was any way we could do something like that.
I don't know about it. I can ask him.
I don't know. It's just
It's a domestic violence thing sponsored by FEMA?
Oh, no.
Maybe I missed
No, that's a whole different topic.
Okay.
I was just curious about the FEMA training, if you've heard anything about this. I don't know.
There's one that's being sponsored by the Emergency Center. I got the notice on it today. That's coming up, I think, sometime in May. I didn't look at it real close, but it's for emergency providers and stuff like that. But I can send council a copy of that if you would like. I can forward that, sure.
Perfect, thank you.
I know 911 just had a practice where they have a team that's in the whole state made up of dispatchers from all around, and if there's a disaster, they don't know where they're going to go to train at, and Skagit got picked. And they have 1 hour notice, and then they all came to our 911, and then they actually take over our consuls, and first hour our dispatchers sit with them to kind of show them how to work everything, or at least they already know, and then the next hour they get away, and everything went real smooth. And so I'm glad to hear that they practice that, in case there's a big disaster, a team can come in and take over our dispatching. And like you said, I know the emergency guys practice all the time, some kind of event. And our bridge showed that,
Yeah, as I recall, this one was on disaster recovery. Probably look it up here on my iPhone.
Earthquakes.
Oh, I did that one in school.
Yeah.
Not a bad
I
idea.
remember that. Yeah, I would love that.
You can go online.
Just out of curiosity.
Take tons of FEMA training.
Anything else?
Nope.
Kevin?
Nothing.
Yeah, I just got to remind Rick the blast from the past so he can kind of think ahead.
Yeah.
June 5th and 6th.
5, 6, 7.
All right.
Friday afternoon, Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Car show, motorcycle show this year is going to be new.
Yeah, I heard it's going to be a little longer.
And they're possibly extending it down across south of State Street between State and Warner.
Yeah.
We had a full house last year, and see how the applications come in.
I just saw a dog come in the door, automatic doors.
Dog?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I found that email. It's a free workshop promoting community resilience to natural hazards across the Pacific Northwest. It's on April the 16th. That's a Thursday at, that's when it was sent. I'm sorry. It's May 13th from 9 to 12 at the Skagit County Emergency Training Room. And there's a flyer and stuff, so I'll send that on to you folks.
Thank you.
Anything else? I have a motion to adjourn? Or go ahead, Jermaine.
What time did you say that was?
Let's see. It is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Thanks.
And can we go?
In the morning. I don't know. Find out.
Well, some of the
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, by Councilmember Galbraith, second by who? Wagoner. Okay, all those in favor stand. And Coleman, go get that dog. You're the police chief now. No, okay.
I could
It was a mean, it was a big chihuahua.
Every time.
Yes, sir.
I can see how I can walk up and know he was there and let him in.
Especially if it's a big dog.
We put these in the recycled bin over there.